Hello, ladies. I am going to be giving you guys a couple of supplemental classes in between our live classes to help you speed up the process of what you guys are emptying and working through. So catching up from our last video that you received was, if you're trying to stay with us here, obviously I want you guys to go at your own pace and rewatch classes as many times as you can, as well as intuitively go down that rabbit hole and discover other parts and places within yourself, intuitively creating your own practices, experiencing your own healing formulas coming through. This is a great time to start really working with your subconscious. I've also created 3 videos that I have posted on YouTube and our non-duality class, masterclass this year, in regards to manifesting with the divine feminine and masculine through the conscious and subconscious mind. And I will make sure that those get put in your dashboard so you don't have to go searching for YouTube. Anyways, today's class is really about the third step in moving the energy of that crowded, hoarding, painful, traumatized, abandoned, rejected womb space. And now you guys have to understand that when I say womb, some of you are like, I've had a hysterectomy or I'm no longer menstruating. That womb is the metaphor for your subconscious mind. Okay. So in the understanding of a dualistic nature of gender, which is the law that we are playing here on earth, is the law. One of the laws is gender, masculine and feminine. That you only needed 2 things to create reality here. Okay. You needed a desire and you needed a physical embodiment of that desire, which means a way to actually live it, be it, manifest it, create it. So obviously the first and the biggest part of you is that imagination of yourself, which is your desire. It is when you really truly close your eyes and think about the best possible version of you. That is who you are, right? And your life experiences have toned that down, or turned your volume down, or broken you up a bit, or bent you out of place. But ultimately, when you close your eyes and you go back to the best possible version that is in your heart of yourself, that is who you truly are. And the totality of that is infinite possibilities. It is the quantum field of possibilities. It is the subconscious, or the imagination. Okay. And in essence of the law of gender, that is your feminine energy. All right. Now, your conscious awareness is your mental plane. It is your ability to look, to see, to interact, to decide, to choose. Okay. So you really need to understand the finite differential between these 2 levels of consciousness, because what happens is when these 2 levels of consciousness get away from each other and they are not working to integrate and literally like create a healthy marriage that is producing a baby, which is your manifestation, then what happens is other energies get involved in your creative process. Okay, so I'll explain that. So when you're consciously looking at something that you do not want, that is the mental plane, and you're saying yes or no. Okay. Now your subconscious is like, let's take the Titanic, for example. Okay. So the captain on the deck is looking around. All right. And what he does is he sends a signal. So the captain is not driving the ship. He's commanding the ship. Who is actually driving the ship is down probably 3-4 decks below, all the crew. Now, these crews have no windows. They are completely submerged underneath this water. They are waiting for the captain to say which way. Okay. And what happens is if the captain sees something that he doesn't like, instead of saying, okay, I don't like that, so I'm going to tell them to go that way, he is unaware, giving them the reflection of what is that way. And because they cannot see, they are taking orders without questioning. Okay. Without questioning. So if the captain is looking at what he does not want, and because the subconscious mind is extremely literal. Can't take a joke. It doesn't understand your assertive or your sarcasm or your ebonics. Like, it does not understand your slang. It's going to take the meaning of the tonal word, which is a spell, literally. So if you say I'm broke up here, then they start heading towards broke. Okay, if you say I'm sick up here, they start heading towards I'm sick, because they cannot see, right? But it takes an entire crew. It took an entire crew to crash the Titanic. Okay, because again, the captain wasn't paying attention to where he was going. All right, and again, that's a metaphor, but it's a perfect analogy if you really try to understand that the idea of the bigness of your subconscious and the power that it has. And then your thinking mind, which is 5%, you think, oh, my thoughts are not really going to affect my subconscious. But see, the thing is if you're constantly thinking about what you don't want over and over and over again, and then seeing other people have what you want, and tallying up your failures, you are literally commanding that subconscious to go in the direction of more. Because if you've ever drawn a pattern, it's like you want to keep drawing the pattern. So the pattern wants to continue because that's the way they're familiar, which means that if the subconscious isn't getting a clear command from the captain, it's going to go the way it always has gone, right? It's going to go the way it's like, well, where do we go? Well, let's go where we've always gone, because that's the only command. And so when we look at language, it's very interesting to understand that purifying your subconscious mind is really a two-part process. And this is what I have learned through basically a punch in the face this last couple of years, is that when you are operating from old patterns, regardless of how much different type of action you take in physical world, different jobs, different diets, different relationships, the direction that you're heading, if not purified or new route delivered, new coordinates delivered, new GPS delivered, okay, then the subconscious mind is going to turn the new relationship into the old relationship. It's going to turn the new home into the old home. Now, think about this. The mental plane consciousness is thinking. I think, which means that I don't know, that I'm measuring. Like, I think this is the way to go. I think this is what I should do. I think this is how it is. Now, subconscious is the feeling space. And this is what makes masculine and feminine energy so different. If you've ever talked to a man and you try to explain how you feel, they try to think through your feeling. Okay. And so it's difficult for masculine energy to feel into your feeling space from a mental plane, because masculine is thought and feminine is feel. So think about right now, like what you were thinking about earlier versus how you felt about it. Okay. Now, if you understood that this is literally a ship that's either going into an iceberg or it's going to sail an adventurous sea, then you would be very strict on making sure that these two conversations were aligned. Okay. Now, I know you know this from a law of attraction place, but the severity of this connection is everything in your reality. It is the only way that you are going to achieve your heart's desire on the outside of you, is to be on board, be on the same page, okay? Be union and together with the subconscious, okay? Now, what happens as a way to survive trauma is to pretend it's not there. Okay, so what happens, and I've witnessed myself doing this over the years, and I've witnessed almost every one of my clients doing this over the years, is that we have this subconscious full of pain. And again, the subconscious isn't in nature in pain. She's just stored pain. She's just pattern after pattern, practice after practice, unconscious choice after unconscious choice, behavior after behavior, practice after practice, witness after witness, right? She's played out this same story probably her entire life, maybe a different cast. So the conscious awareness feels it might be different, but it feels the same. Still trapped, still broke, still alone, even though you're married, even though you have money in the bank, you could still feel all of those things if that's how you felt as a child and you never repatterned the crew. Okay. So what happens is like the subconscious is full of this trauma and pain. And for you to survive that mutated imagination that you have unfortunately practiced, the conscious mind creates a delusional state to pretend that the subconscious is on board. All right. And this is everything. If you watch one class over and over again, please watch this one. Okay. Because I did not realize I was doing this as well. And it's so programmed. Okay. So it's like, I don't like where I live, so I'm going to pretend I don't live there. Okay. I don't like what I have, so I'm going to pretend I have something different, which we are learning that pretending is how you build reality. But here is where the convolution comes, is when I pretend my subconscious mind is healthy and happy. And so I take action as if, then it's like me wearing this white shirt that I just bought and constantly spilling coffee on it all day. And I can keep trying to cover it up and I can keep trying to hide it, but the shirt is ruined. And so look at one of your past manifestations that you were able to manifest, your white shirt, and how quickly did you spill coffee on it? Or how quickly did someone else spill coffee on your white shirt? Because if you think that you can pretend the subconscious is on board, then it's like, I call this the American Idol effect, where someone can be so removed from their body and from their pain that they truly believe that they are an amazing singer, when everyone around is like, oh my God, that's the worst. And they are like going to fight you and be like, I'm the best singer in the world. And you're cringing, watching them be horrible on a group experience, like the masses is going, oh my God, this person is not a good singer. And they really believe they are. I see this so much with poverty. Okay. So it's like everything is victim perpetrator. Like I can have a client who has a poverty mindset. Okay. And she will come to me, or he will come to me with a poverty mindset, but because they have a 401k, they have a job, they have a husband that helps them pay the bills, they tell me how abundant they are. Okay. And they tell me that, like oh yeah, money, that's not my problem. My problem is over here. And I'm listening to the arrogance in their false abundance. Now, it's not coming off like I'm better than you. It's coming off like that is too painful for me to confront, the fact that if I lose my job, or if the banking institution goes somewhere, or if I don't act the way my husband wants me to act, then I'm really not abundant. Okay. And so it's difficult for me as a mentor, because I'm looking at the me, myself, and I in every session, and I can see where the subconscious is vibrating, and I can see where the American Idol effect is. Okay. So the American Idol effect is, I believe that I am this, while your subconscious mind is vibrating this. Now, what this will manifest for you is this idea of getting blindsided, being betrayed, okay, being bumped, creating accidents, like getting hit, okay, literally. This is because it's a friction. It's like there's so much disregard for what is vibrating in the subconscious mind, that this conscious part of you that is a thinking mind becomes delusioned from what is vibrating. Okay. So this is like where the heat is really getting on in this class, because what we're going to have to do once we start clearing out what's in there, well, even before that, we have to confront what is in there. Okay. We have to actually confront that maybe we don't have the good voice, not because we don't have a good voice, because we haven't practiced this good voice and we've pretended we have this good voice. Okay. So I could be so disillusioned from the pain in my subconscious. And I see this happen a lot with RA, which is ritual abuse, which is a narcissistic parent, which is narcissistic relationships. It's like, in order to survive abuse, you can create a mental reality that does not fit the subconscious reality. You might have a family member that is such a victim, okay? And they're constantly complaining, they're constantly sick, they're constantly racking up debt, they're constantly borrowing money, they're lying, they're cheating, and they're living high on the horse, okay? They're like got the best bag and they're going on vacation. They've borrowed money from you and they're going on vacation. And you're like, and then when you're around them, they're bougie, like, oh, I don't eat that. And you're like, you can't even pay your bills. I know you've been around someone like this. So that's what I mean, but that's what we call the American Idol effect. And if you've never watched that show, it's kind of like America's Got Talent, where people will come and compete to be finalist and win the best voice in America. And Carrie Underwood, the country singer, she was actually, I believe, a winner of that. And now she's got a big career because she was walking her talk. Okay. Now, the funny part about this is most of you guys that are in my class are the opposite, which means that you might have some of that somewhere just to be like, keep yourself sane and safe, where you're like disillusioned from your subconscious. But most of you are better than you think you are. Like, you're a better singer than you think you are. You're a better, coach than you think you are. But you are using the fraud complex to separate yourself from the subconscious patterning. Okay. So it's almost like you have taken the road of, I'm not good enough, right? So it's like victim perpetrator. Perpetrator would be a professional victim that has no regard to what's sitting in their subconscious, and they're literally a walking tornado while they're acting bougie. Okay. You're probably sucking everything in. Okay. Not good enough when you are literally like healing people and helping people, and you're paying that bougie girl's rent, right? And you're feeling like, wow, like I'm not even good enough to ask for help. And here she is, like taking out another credit card. Okay. So again, but what I've seen with most of my clients is that most of my clients have a little bit of both. They're bougie where they shouldn't be bougie, and they're insecure where they shouldn't be insecure. Because what has happened, instead of us coming together and creating union of this beautiful marriage between our conscious and our subconscious mind, we start to have resentment, and we start to have guilt, and we start to have shame, and we start to have humiliation, and grief piles up. And resentment is a way to fester anger. We lose our boundaries, we lose our freedom, we lose our desires, and we start existing in the same house. But in order to live in the same house and survive the relationship, I'm going my way and you're going your way. Okay. And usually, if you have a relationship with a masculine and a feminine, or a feminine and a masculine, it doesn't matter if you're both women or you're both men, that it's the idea of that one has a certain level of chaos they bring to the table, and one of you has a certain level of control that you bring to the table. And how it's supposed to work is that as long as you are on the same page, you're going to create expansion and a multiplication of expansion. But what usually happens is all of these lower frequencies and these slower emotional vibrations start to stack up in the physical body, and the subconscious becomes the vibration of lower density, which is inherently neutral. It's just feminine energy, right? It's not dark, it's not light, it just is. But because we've never like gone in there and cleaned more than the surface, like what's behind the washer and dryer, what's behind the fridge, like we dust the surface. So see, it looks good. And we, go to our Reiki class once a week, or we go to yoga once a week, or we do our affirmation, or we meditate once a week, or we try to eat, plant-based foods, then we believe that the subconscious is literally not a crew that is literally driving the Titanic into this iceberg, right? And guaranteed, when that Titanic smacked into that iceberg, even that captain was confused, because he was like, I didn't see it. Because if I'm in a delusional state of I am better than you, okay, or I'm not as good as you, victim, perpetrator, disillusion, your subconscious is like running patterns based off of what coordinates they have. And if you have not reprogrammed coordinates, okay, your crew, 90%, let's say like it's really more than 75%. It's more like 90% of your vibrational imagination of self is there's no captain. Okay. So they're going to run off of whatever has been impressed into the mind of the subconscious, which is below the surface. So think about that word impress, okay, and look at it like an impression. Like it takes a lot to dig it in. This is why when we do biohacking, we have to get so deep into the body, because those failures, those heartbreaks, that guilt and shame, that grief, that anxiety, that loss is embedded. You're in bed with your pain, and your pain builds your biggest vibration. So when you try to pretend that that pain is not there, it's like if you have headaches every single day and you say, oh no, I'm fine, I'm taking Tylenol every day, you realize that there's going to be an iceberg, because you're going to destroy your liver. But you can tell me, oh no, I'm managing that pain. You're not healing that pain. Why do we have headaches? Well, I put too much self-pressure on myself because I'm pretending that my subconscious mind isn't full of poverty programs, while I pretend, it's almost like you look at those pictures of people who are flossing, being rich, and they have like Gucci bags and expensive cars, but they're house poor. And then you look at people who are truly wealthy that, they're more about experiences and adventure, and they would never spend that kind of money on a bag that they know is not worth it to them. So it's like what you're pretending to be is what is creating your blind spots. It's creating your attacks. It's creating your accidents. It's creating your blind sides. It's creating your betrayals. It's creating your breakups. It's creating your mistakes. And it's also creating your sabotage, because it's like, think about this, like a man and a woman are married. They've got children. They've got bills. They're both unhappy. Okay. Because there's resentment, there's baggage that they both brought into the relationship, that they don't really understand each other. And instead of sitting down and saying, hey, like, we've got kids, this is what we've got to make this work here. The guy starts cheating, right, and telling this other woman that he doesn't even have a family, that or my wife's crazy and she abuses me. So they truly, your conscious mind will believe anything it says to itself, while the mom is sitting at home with all the kids wondering where he is, right? Well, so she starts to notice that he is nowhere to be seen. So she's trying to basically take care of everything on her own without that masculine energy. Now, this could go both ways. I've seen this in my sessions. Girls do this too. Women do this too. Oh, my husband's crazy, right? I mean, I've had some amazing spiritual people that have had 7-year affairs, okay? And they're so in their righteousness of it. It's like that bougie poverty mindset. It's Disillusion. Now, you are allowed to be disillusioned from the matrix, not your subconscious. Okay. A matter of fact, when you go through my programs or my coaching or my mentorship, I'm going to help you disillusion yourself from the matrix. But you've got to have your married couple on the same page with the right vows, going towards the same place of creation, manifesting those babies, okay, which is your heart's desire. And what the matrix does is it teaches law of attraction, and it teaches you to use your thoughts to create your reality, right? But if your subconscious does not impress, does not become, does not act as if, does not believe, does not see you with integrity in the way that you're saying you are, then it's going to go this way, and you're going to go this way, and you're going to be able to accomplish this much from your false sense of reality of self, and your subconscious mind is going to manifest this much pain. Okay? So when you're looking at creating, what I'm saying is first things first is creating the union of self, disillusioning from the matrix, okay, disillusioning from the matrix itself, and then working to repair relationship with self to manifest a whole new world, because the new world is going to have the same laws of the universe that the old world had: law of gender, okay, law of manifestation, law of abundance, law of resistance, law of attraction, law of vibration. You're still going to be following protocol in this new world, guys, but it's going to take your masculine and your feminine energy in union to create and birth. The subconscious mind has to be impregnated, because the subconscious mind is the womb of creation with a conscious desire. So it's like, think about this. Like, I'm sitting here with this womb, and I'm fertile, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm ovulating. And this guy is shooting blanks. Okay. So if your masculine energy is shooting blanks, then your subconscious, who is fertile around every new moon, okay, really fertile, or right before you go to sleep, or right when you wake up, like, what are we impressing me with? What are we impregnating with? I'm going, I don't really believe that I can have that, and I don't really want to work that hard, and I don't really feel like I'm that smart, so I'm going to pretend I am, and I'm going to have my cake and eat it too, which means I'm going to live in this very small delusional reality while my subconscious becomes impregnated with my failure and my loss and my bankruptcies and my poverty and my broken car and my broken friendships. And I'm going to just move away. Like, those friends weren't really my friends, and that husband wasn't good enough for me. And, I'm a victim of my reality, when these two parts together make your reality. All right. So this was a big slap in my face, because imagination is how I kept myself safe as a child in my house. It was like, okay, well, I can't control what I eat, what I do, what I say, what I feel, so I will make up my own world. All right. And I did. Okay. And especially when some abuse started happening to me, I really separated myself from my body, from my life, from my reality. And I found a safe space in my false little world. Okay. And then I would get in trouble, because I would go to school after a night of abuse, and instead of going and telling someone what it was happening to me, I would be like, oh, hey, my dad just got a Ferrari. like pathological in my early years of elementary school, because that was what I could disillusion from, what was in my subconscious and what was happening to me over and over again, in order to create a reality that I could live through. Now, again, that was, maybe you didn't do it like that, but I would get caught every time, and I would be humiliated for it, and I would do it again, because it was so much better than going to school and someone saying, oh, why are you crying? And I'd say, because of this. Instead, I'd be like, I didn't get my pony that I wanted, because that felt less humiliating, right? Or, that felt like I wasn't going to be looked at as I was disgusted or impure in those ways. So I would find that feeling that I chose to feel. Now, I have the formula correct. If I would have been taught to love myself, I could have used that grandiose imagination to heal my own subconscious mind, even at 7 years old. But I didn't have those tools. And I didn't have a role model to show with me. I didn't have access to some of the great works that were available, Edward Casey work. I didn't have, I didn't have these books. I didn't have Abraham Hicks back in those days. So I literally survived my childhood in this way. Now, some of you delusioned yourself into sports or academia. Okay. Or some of you just went right all the way into the pain and let the pain devour you, and it turned into health issues, right? Because each and every person who is in separation of themselves will manifest abandonment, rejection, loss over and over again. Okay. Failures, no matter how bad you try, because of this separation in your conscious and subconscious. Now, you probably believe that the separation is coming between you and your partner. You probably believe that the separation is coming because your boss is not paying you enough or not treating you well, or because the government is the problem or the money system is the problem. But the true reality of it is that your heart has the coordinates of your heaven on earth. And it will only be birthed through fertilizing an egg within your womb of creation, through conscious thought and working together. So if some of you guys are married, you know what that takes to stay on the same page. And maybe you're not getting there, but you would probably be able to get on the same page of your partner is if you were on the same page of yourself. And I have realized this is why every single one of my relationships have failed in the past, because I was not in union of self when I chose my partner. See, I chose my partner because of the physical, okay, or what this could be, the potentiality of it. And my subconscious chose that partner because pain attracts pain and like attracts like. And we both have equal amounts of giant baggage that either one of us want to necessarily be responsible for. Okay. I know you can relate to this. So there comes a point in time where your disillusioned false state that is run by dopamine and instant gratification and addictions and separation and judgment and hidden guilt and hidden shame, hidden resentment come to a stop. And if you are having a death of the ego experience right now because you are about to cross the threshold into the new world, you cannot go into 5D without an ego death, which means nothing's working for you. And you're having to, for the first time, turn to your subconscious and be like, it's you and me. We've got to figure this out. And then you have to confront what is in there. Okay. And it may take loss of jobs, loss of money, loss of friendships, loss of homes, loss of health. It may be raging pain that brings you to your body. It might be bankruptcy that brings you into your body. Whatever the case is, this relationship is here to mend, because this is the final stage of your threshold into this new world that you're creating. All right. So we understand that, a lot of you out here who follow me or in my classes are very intuitive, and you're clairsentient, which is you feel, you're empathic, you're sensitive. Some of you are clairvoyant, clairaudio, some of you are channeling professionally, you're practitioners, you're teachers, your moms, your healers. But the thing is when you are disillusioned from yourself, you want to look at really, and I've done this in a chakra video. If you want to find my video, it's like me wearing black background, but it's at my studio and then they've got the chakra balls. Okay. And the idea is that the third dimensional matrix separates you right at the heart chakra. Okay. It's designed to separate you from your heart chakra. Okay. And so here you are believing that you're leading with your heart. Okay. You're using your third eye to help people. You're, speaking spirit. You're speaking the Holy Spirit. You're having the divine meditations. You're feeling expansive. And your bottom three chakras are the American Idol effect. You're broke, you're sick, you're alone, you're challenged, you're judged. You've got raging guilt and shame. You can't do enough. You can't make enough. You can't feel enough down here in the real world. You don't want to be here. You feel alone. You feel like this isn't your right planet. You feel like you need to go back up to the stars. But see, the thing is the bottom three chakras, right, are your subconscious version of your superconscious version. So your intuition, I am, is in the root chakra. I am real. Okay. I am all there is. I am human, root chakra. Okay. Sacral. I am creativity. I am sexuality, which is procreation. Okay. And your third eye is the imagination, is the seeing the creativity, is the feeling the connection. All right. And so when the as above, so below gets separated because your heart has taken a beating and it's building walls, then this relationship and this relationship become separate. And so the bottom three chakras, if they are not producing wealth, if they are not producing creativity, if you are not becoming an artist, if you are not, being intimate with soul-mated partner, right? And you are not connecting with people on a deeper level than physicality or monetary, ideas, then that sacral energy is in a negative vibration, spinning counterclockwise. No matter how many healers put it clockwise, whatever programs are running at an automatic viral space down there is going to basically be your reality, no matter how many people you heal. Okay. No matter how many times you do the right thing, no matter how much you help other people find abundance, no matter how much great advice you give, it will never be for you, or at least not. It will be just enough. It's almost like a breadcrumbing effect. So think about your bottom three chakras. They get lodged in three different emotions. So root gets completely engulfed with grief, loss of home, loss of family, loss of dreams, loss of safety, loss of security, loss of abundance. Sacral loses relationships, loses the creativity, loses its inventions, loses its ideas, loses its follow through. Okay. Solar plexus, right, which is the subconscious brain, is the action, is the demonstration. You're trying. I'm trying to sing good. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying. So think about grief, anger, okay, and lack of forgiveness. So when we start working through clearing out the womb space, right, subconscious is the world within the world where you create your reality with your thinking. So when your masculine and your feminine are disillusioned, he's living this life, she's living this life, she's blaming him, or she's saying, well, he's not coming home or listening to us, okay? And he's not showing up, okay? So the problems grow and grow and grow, and the house gets messier and it gets broken and things start to get unraveled. And so usually what happens is the more of a mess your subconscious, the more your conscious will disillusion itself from it. It will say, I can't even look at my mess. I'm going to go live with you. I'm going to date you. I'm going to buy you to make me feel better for this much time, right? So there are 4 levels of forgiveness. Once you guys finish processing your grief that is in your root chakra, okay, the anger and rage that is embedded in your ability to not create, your disappointment, your resentment, your irritations, your envy, your jealousy, okay, your physical pain, your lack, your poverty, okay? Once you get through layers of this. So some of you have asked me in class, like, well, what if my dreams just never come back? Or what if I, can't think of anything that I really love right now because, I can't. Well, this is what I have to say from proof and demonstration is that when you clear out at least 10% to 45% of the grief that is sitting in your root chakra, and you express and expel, 40% at least of the anger that is sitting in your sacral, okay, then your solar plexus will naturally go towards forgiveness and reconciliation. So it is going to be your behavior that begins to demonstrate a different relationship. But in this particular class right now, it is your job to look at where you have created such a dual, false sense of reality for yourself to survive the matrix. Because if you're surviving the matrix with instant gratifications, addictions, codependencies, spending lots of time in meditation that is not directed towards cleaning out the subconscious, but maybe like getting high, okay, then you're basically building a volcano of the subconscious that is going to eventually vacuum yourself down. Now, some people learn that way. Some people just dust themselves off and blame the government and go jump into another situation. And within 3 months to 3 years, they're worse off. Okay, so the human body was not designed to age. It recreates itself every 11 months. Now, it does have a life cycle, which means that it wants to go to its prime adulthood, right? It's going to go to 3 7-year cycles, which was 21 years old, the human body would be fully grown and developed. Now, every 11 months after that, the subconscious and conscious choose and decide what this conscious being represents, what age it is, how it feels. So you can see that the further I get away from myself, I'm going to try to get the conscious mind's attention, because divine feminine is nature. She is nurturing. She is mother. She is creator. She is vision. She is imagination. She is infinite, divine, cosmic, spiritual power, which means good and positive in nature. Conscious awareness is form that is perceiving and deciding. So masculine is more about the form. Remember, it's like the electricity through the wall and the blender. And so together, they can make you a smoothie. But if the blender is not connected to the energy of the wall, it's going to be useless. Now, you see it sitting on your counter, it's pretending to be a blender, but it doesn't work. Okay? You see the energy in your wall, but if you don't have some conduit or a captain to direct where that energy is going, the energy is everywhere and it's expanding more and more and more and more and more and more until maybe something blows. Okay. And this is why women can take a lot of pain, they can take a lot of crap, they can take a lot of responsibility, and then they finally explode. Now, it's always in your best interest when your life goes into the toilet. And here's why. It is because it's an interruption of your dissolution. It's an interruption of your illusion that you have created to stay safe. And it's an opportunity for you to break up from the matrix and come back to your beloved. which is either your masculine and feminine, feminine and masculine, and rebuild the relationship. So what we're doing in this particular class is we are rebuilding our relationship between our feminine and masculine energy. And you're saying the matrix is over here, my false sense of security, my worth that I was getting from the letters after my name, the codependency of that person that treats me like crap, you're here. I am going to work on rebuilding this captain crew relationship. And so I can create miracles that are true, that I'm not just wearing the brand or driving the car, but I'm living abundance. I'm living wealth. I'm living health. When people think that headaches are normal, that's delusional. Your body should not be in pain. You know, there's so many separations that happen with our body that we take a little bit of pain and we think that's normal. Arthritis is not normal. I don't care what age you are. Headaches are not normal. Back pain is not normal. Okay. Disease is not normal. I don't care who's had it in your family. If you understand epigenetics, you are only attracting disease because you are in the same vibration of that person who had the disease before you. You did not get the disease from your grandmother. You vibrated the same lack vibration, the same guilt, the same shame, the same anger, the same rage, the same loss as grandma in order to inherit anything. Now, you can also inherit some really beautiful things through epigenetics if your relationship is online, your masculine and feminine, okay? And this happens because you are in dual nature of your body, you're subconscious, you are conscious, but then you hear, well, Jess, you talk about 4 levels of consciousness. There is unconscious below the subconscious, and there is super consciousness above the conscious. Why is it that in quantum fitness do we work with all 4 instead of just the 2? Well, think about it. If I'm having marriage issues, I'm going to bring a counselor in, aka super consciousness. Okay. And I usually need to bring a counselor in because something is breaking up my marriage, unconscious. So when the subconscious becomes so big and poisoned and heavy and sick, it begins to pull from the living dead energy of ancestry. It begins to pull the genetics. It begins to uproot the living dead energy within your lineage of consciousness. And now instead of just a headache, you have a brain tumor. Okay. And because you have a brain tumor now, you need a miracle worker. You need an exorcist. You need you need an exorcism. You need something above conscious awareness to come in and parent. So this is why when we wake up, we are so separate from ourselves that we begin to work with our higher self. Because our higher self is the one who is above the captain. Okay. Let's say the captain is on the ship, doesn't see the iceberg. So the captain will phone in the guy in the helicopter, which is your super consciousness, that'll be like, hey, in 10 yards or 1,000, kilometers, there's an iceberg. And this is why, because we become so separate, we're like 911, 911, or at least your subconscious is. Your conscious mind's like, oh, I just got a new Fendi bag, right? And your subconscious is like, we're about to go bankrupt here, but she doesn't know it. She's about to get sued again. She doesn't even know it. So it calls forth your super tattletales. Your subconscious mind does not want to drive you into that iceberg. So it will tattletale on you to your super consciousness. And now all of a sudden you're talking to psychics, you're hiring me, you've got a middleman who is acting as your higher self until your higher self begins to speak to you. And then what happens is when your higher self comes in, as above is below, you start to notice that you have also risen the dead, that there is a lot of dead energy and stillborn manifestations and broken hearts and ancestral crap that is coming forth through the subconscious now, because the more you suppress the subconscious, the more engraved it gets, and it starts operating as a death experience, which in the Bible is what the resurrection is about. Okay. So the Bible is a manifestation novel. It is so much about how to manifest the reality through the Christed heart, through the pureness of your heart's desires. Now, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind truly have the same desires. That's how you created yourself. You were like, okay, I need to be non-physical. I need to be the crew that makes everything work, that pulls from infinite potential, that literally realigns nature to bring forth my desires through an embodiment of human form. And I need a heart's desire based on contrast. Like, we need a place to go. We need a thing to be. So when you come into physical reality, you split into two levels of consciousness in a body separated by the brain, right? And the home that you live in as a married couple is the physical body. Your womb of creation, okay, is your heart's desires that are waiting to be literally fertilized from the masculine choice. I could be looking at total poverty around me and I could choose abundance. Or I could look at poverty around me, be disgusted by it, pretend that I am not while I live in it, and eventually manifest poverty. Okay. So this class right here is basically a stop sign that says you want to pay attention to where you are living a disillusioned life right now before you start working in your forgiveness work. Your forgiveness work is going to be in 5 steps. 5 is the number of change. There's 5 physical steps in forgiveness that reconciles. Okay. What is the number one thing that when someone hurts you, right? Or someone goes against you, or someone lies to you, or someone cheats on you, or someone disrespects you or betrays you? What is the number one thing that would help you forgive that person, right? Well, number 1 is change behavior. So the conscious mind has to change its behavior if the subconscious mind is going to change her programs. All right. And number 2 is remorse. When someone hurts you and they go, oh, sorry, that does not feel good. But if someone truly has remorse, you believe that that person understands what they did to you. So until your conscious mind understands what it's been doing unconsciously to the subconscious, and the subconscious mind can clear out the pain it has received from the wrong information, then this resolution cannot create a resurrection. Okay? Look at this word resurrection, aka erection, turning on. Like, what turns the conscious mind on and what gets the subconscious pregnant can be 2 different things. Look at our world of porn. Can a man who's watching porn impregnate anyone that way? Because it's a false illusion. It's a false illusion of intimacy. Probably because intimacy has hurt them, or they were trained into emasculation where intimacy was not safe. Okay? And so that would be an example of disillusion. They cannot procreate that way. Now, a feminine who is very rigid and she has been hurt and she is suffering and she is not safe, no matter how much she wants a baby, cannot become fertile to the conscious awareness if she believes that that is not a safe space for her. All right. And I deal with a lot of fertility issues in my career, and it's always this story. It's not your body only, it's your relationship between your conscious and your subconscious delusion. So what happens is all the masks have to fall off. You got to stop cheating on your subconscious and lying to your subconscious, and you got to pay attention to what's in there, and you got to have remorse for 45 years of abandoning yourself and rejecting yourself to live a false sense of reality when literally you've been running poverty programs or lack programs your entire life. Your body has taken a toll, your relationships have taken a toll, your money has taken a toll. And so there has to be the forgiveness work. Now, the forgiveness won't come if you're angry. Okay. Can you forgive someone when you're super angry? No, you've got to process the anger and rage. You're going to process the grief first. Processing the grief brings you up from the death experience into reality of understanding and awareness. Then it will bring forth the anger, which is the bodyguard, but it is also rising in the vibration. It's getting the power back. When you're angry, your power is coming back. So after the power comes back, you're going to move into the solar plexus to demonstrate. Now, best apology is change behavior. But in order for you to change behavior, you have to have remorse. You have to confront. You have to accept this separation. You have to become aware of your delusion and see that that operating basis will never get you true abundance. It's false abundance. You have to let go of the mask, come down into the subconscious, and rebuild this relationship through the work of the 5 steps of forgiveness. Now, it's a journey, but it is pretty quick once you get to this point because you're so much lighter. Think about how much anger and guilt you're going to be removing from yourself. And so this is going to lighten you up, and it's also going to get exciting again, because the idea of forgiveness and the idea of really truly understanding where both parts of you have been will give you a new sense of your heart's desires. And so once your heart's desire is then, you are excited to do the forgiveness work. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And you guys will get your 5 steps of your forgiveness work. After class, I want to make sure that you have processed enough of your anger before I give you this class, and maybe sit in this idea of where your American Idol effect might be, so that you can sit in that. And if you're watching this in the future and you're like, hey, I really want to take that class, this is the Claiming the Divine Feminine workshop, available on my Jessica Ahlstrom website and my Quantum Fitness website. And it is available for replay, which means you do not have to join live. You can take this workshop anytime. And I will be live in class tomorrow with taking your questions, your comments. And when I feel like you guys have at least moved the threshold of that deep feminine anger that some of you only feel during PMS, which is actually how you feel all the time, but your body's only letting you feel it once a month, when it's like, I'm not pregnant again. Disappointment, resentment, right? Guilt, shame, maybe relief, right? That is when your body will naturally move through those stages. Regardless if you are gone through menopause or not, then your body will tell you where you are. But it's time for you to literally have a happy marriage, right? Sync your brain, sync your left and right side of your bodies, and manifest heaven on earth that you do not manifest in this physical matrix. You manifest in the divine quantum matrix, which is conscious and subconscious. Which means that if you guys get this happy marriage, you don't need the super consciousness, the therapist, and you do not need the Walking Dead that is there to scare you into waking up. Okay, so this is a wake up call, guys. This isn't the end of your world that you're seeing out here. It is the end of your delusion. And it is the beginning of your heaven on earth that only takes your conscious and your subconscious mind in unity, happily married.